warm welcome. Today we have with us Apeksha Kaushik. She is a Principal Analyst and works within the CIO Research Group at Gartner as a member of the Government and Education team. A very warm welcome, ma'am. Thank you for joining us at CXOT.
Thank you so much, Urmi, and thank you for inviting me here. So I work with Gartner, and it has been like more than 6 years now. I cover the government and education space, and here I cover everything from digital government maturity to different government applications, and now working more and more in citizen experience and also leading the total experience front for the government.
Great to know, ma'am. We'll proceed with the questions in terms of total experience solution, how it is working this time. So today we are going to discuss something that is around the total experience solutions and how it is becoming increasingly important in the public sector due to the potential and also to transform how government services are being delivered and experience that the citizens are witnessing. So I would request you if you can share some insight on how total experience can improve the government service delivery.
Yeah. See, this space of government in itself is very interesting, especially post the pandemic. The importance of digital was realized by the government. A lot of investments were made. But now, after some time, few years, more and more government organizations have realized that the investments they made are required to make more value and deliver more impact, right? So that's where the total experience approach comes handy. And this is per our 2022 Gartner CIO survey. We asked our government leaders last year about exactly the same questions. Which are the digital investments which are not performing for the intended outcomes? Then citizen experience, employee experience, and cost efficiency were the ones right up top which were not giving the intended value. So the use of total experience approach in government has become the key to that question. Government is using various technologies to empower their citizens, their employees across different channels and modes of interaction, and therefore aims at having more comprehensive approach to support their mission priorities. Also, we here at Gartner predicted that by 2026, government total experience approach will reduce process ambiguity by 90%, while increasing satisfaction metrics for both the citizen experience and employee experience by 50%. So you can imagine what drastic change it can bring. Basically, for those who are not well versed, what is total experience? It is a combination of four major dimensions. First is citizen experience, second, employee experience, third is multi-experience, which is more about the channels and touchpoints, including mobile app, website, maybe voice, and even face-to-face interactions. And lastly, the user experience, which is more of a combination of government objectives and user needs and design best practices which are there. So all these four have to be in synergy, right? When they are in synergy, the outcome amplifies. At the same time, it helps in getting the coherence and giving the smooth experience to the citizens and employees also. So total experience is that kind of strategic approach which provides employees and citizens with all modern tools across different kind of channels and touchpoints and enhances the overall experience. And this is a great way to improve the digital inclusion and digital equity so that the government is able to deliver the services to its citizens and also at the same time retain their employees, improve their experience also.
Government is definitely working towards improved service delivery and to make this situation easier for the citizens to access. So we would also like to understand, what are the major challenges that organizations are facing, public sector organizations that are facing, as they evolve their service and adapt to this TX concept.
Right. See, one of the major things for government right now is designing end-to-end experience for citizens and employees, both. So I am quoting citizens and employees both. Citizens have been the priority ever since. But now when the move to digital was made, the importance of employee experience was also realized. It was then followed by great resignation, the talent management issues, and whatnot. But this need to deliver end-to-end experience would further require a cut across individual department, different kind of agencies, different kind of channels, and right, public sector organizations have complex business processes, and it is not easy to break the silos. Therefore, one major challenge would be to have that kind of governance, that kind of change management practices, which are open to business process re-engineering. Even in the last year's survey, I quoted the 2022 CIO survey, we asked the government leaders that what are their top challenges? And exactly, the top two were having multiple stakeholder involvement to agree on a shared vision. And the second one was having competing expectations from different stakeholders. So within the government, smoothing out and ironing out the creases is the topmost challenge. Then comes the technology aspect to it, right? The second one would be around the security and privacy requirement. We know, like, now the importance of data is realized. Therefore, it will be requiring to mitigate the risk for the intellectual property rights, the security, the ethical use of data, how the data is being accessed, how the data sharing is happening more seamlessly, even within the different government operations. For example, authorities like some public safety authorities, what kind of data they could share with the licensing authorities. So there can be synergies and there can be boundaries. That needs to be defined. The protocols need to be set. The transparency and compliance need to be met. And also, at the other end, for citizens, their consent and their preference management is also crucial. So when and why and how and what kind of data they want to submit. So that is also one thing which should be considered. The third one I would say is use of more empathy and human-centered kind of approaches. So the demographic which we have is varied, right? So citizens should be able to request services, report some situation according to their own timeline, whenever it is convenient for them. And of course, we are happy if it happens more so digitally, because that would be quicker and save some time. But sometimes still, citizens prefer traditional model where they want in-person help. So having that kind of empathy and human-centered approach to designing the service delivery process is crucial. Right. Yeah. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm totally agreeing on that. And total experience solutions needs to be prioritized for citizens, as you just mentioned. And you also talked about data privacy. But before we step towards how data privacy is working in that aspect, we would like to understand, what are the major top public sector market trends that are there in this total experience solutions.
Right. So again, starting with the approach in head, which is end-to-end service delivery. So the first one would be the service management solutions, which are specifically aimed to provide a set of integrated capabilities to deliver and manage the citizen services, and at the same time help employees deliver that kind of unified experience. So those are the first ones. And these solutions are relatively newer and still going around this kind of approach. Previously, the government leaders used to ask for more of a single kind of application, like I need a CRM, I need a digital experience platform. But now, when the needs have changed, so the products available and by the providers have also evolved. So citizen service management solutions are the ones right on top. Coming next to the emerging technologies. So technologies like super apps, generative AI, they are there to multifold the government's ability to deliver these kind of services. Then I read a statistic, like 79% of people spend 3 and more hours on their phone per day. And especially when we talk about India, we are a large user base of mobile phones, including the smartphones, right? So the mobile first kind of strategy will be helpful. And super app is a key emerging technologies that can further this agenda of total experience, right? We have in the private sector, we have our own Indian government, like Indian super app. And then for the government, it becomes important to provide that kind of experience. to the citizens and employees.
I think, yeah, very well put forward. And when we are talking about digital transformation or automation, so adapting these total experience solutions often, goes hand in hand with digital transformation efforts as well. And automating this entire process and digitizing services, not only to just enhance the efficiency of the government sector, but also to provide a 24 into 7 access for the customers as well. In terms of the initiative in total experience, how can these initiatives in TX amplify the impact of investment for digital talent acquisition and retention?
Yeah. So as I said, citizens are most important. But again, when it comes down to talent, again, government owes responsibility to the workforce also. Ultimately, they are also citizens, right? So improving their talent management strategies and developing that kind of set of talent will help them amplify the impact of investment. Therefore, reducing the friction in terms of delivering the services, automating tasks, and adopting all different kind of other technology trends like hyper automation can help them, right? Having that kind of self-service portals and different kind of solutions which can ease out the process of appointments and other redundant tasks which are otherwise overloading the employees. But apart from these kind of technological help, there is also something on the softer side. So building that kind of digital dexterity, having that kind of knowledge sharing so right now the workforce has a mix of some greatly experienced leaders and bureaucrats, and then the newer workforce, newer generation which is coming in. So that kind of knowledge sharing is also vital. And now with the concept of fusion teams, the execution of total experience platforms will be eased out. So there needs to be the flexibility and agility in the mindset in those fusion teams which work to build the total experience approach for different government departments. So yeah, not just the technology, but other softer skills too.
So can you share some of the use cases of a TX approach when it comes to the Indian government?
Yeah, so there are many probable use cases, and some of the governments, not only the Indian government, but across the globe, they have been working on this total experience approach, right? Now I feel even for the government of India, they have been focused on delivering services. We have our Umang app, we have our MyGov portal. So the citizens facing kind of portals are being evolved, of course. Then when we go to different kind of subdomains, licensing, permitting, other regulatory and compliance related teams, agriculture, health and human services, justice and public safety, they are the ones which are right there on the verge of digital, I would say, making the total experience move. So reduction in the process ambiguity and redundancy in service is also important. So therefore, these areas become the key. And as I said, India has one of the biggest user base of mobile phones. Therefore, having that experience across different channels, may it be mobile phone, may it be website, may it be face-on-face interaction. So having that kind of experience, then very demographic also require multilingual kind of support. So support to citizens, support to employees. And yeah, that's where I think there are multiple use cases which exist. And it's like a never ending list. Everything you see, government is there in one way or form, right? So everything can be changed, but these are the ones I would say are right there in terms of priority. One other thing which I would like to highlight is the importance of KPIs and metrics. So no matter how much is done, but till the time it is measured, it won't be realized in the way it is intended to be, right? So the anatomy behind the metrics, the KPI selection for prioritizing these kind of services, which I mentioned, is also vital. So it can be anything from maybe like how many citizens are using that kind of services, like the frequency involved or the processing time involved or the end-to-end response time, anything. And even from the employee side, the single view of government, which is there. So how that is being tracked and the KPIs and metrics involved to do that. that are also, as I said, vital for making the things happen.
Thank you so much for sharing those detailed things. And I think we can actually overall, when we talk about total experience solution, and we have in depth spoken about the how crucial it is for public sector organization, which are actually we can consider that they are always been aiming towards the citizen centric and agile as well as digital responsive services are being provided. So I think. With that, and we will come to the end of this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us at CXO TV. Thank you so much for sharing such insightful knowledge with our audience.
Yeah. So thank you, Urmi. I would just like to close it by saying that not just the short-term priorities, we need to balance those with the long-term aspirations also. So having the digitally enabled citizens who require multi-channel, deeply personalized experience, but at the same time, the privacy and the trust in the government. And on the other side, we have the evolving and adapting government workforce. So they need to be equipped with the skills, acquainted with the processes, and right there in terms of technology in the face of the disruption we are having continuously in one way or form. So there has to be a balance in all these. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak with you here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.